quiet seaside town, an evil laid to rest centuries ago, has risen. An abandoned fortress deep in the swamp holds a secret that could save the village or destroy it. Now, a band of adventurers sets out to dig up the wounds of the past and bring the light of day to the roots of ruin. This is Tabletop Gold.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Tabletop Gold, episode 91. My name is Lars Casteen. You may be able to tell from the strained timbre of my voice that I am suffering from a cold this week. I think it makes my voice better. It's got that sort of... You know who I sound like? I sound like Juno, the caseworker from Beetlejuice, I think is what it is that I'm putting across here today.
All right. I was going to make a Phoebe Buffet singing Smelly Cat with her sexy voice comparison.
Well, I'm going to have that prepared for next week, of course. I'm going to have, it's like something about why aren't they feeding? We're going to figure out exactly what it is that she does.
Are we finally going to see one of those guitars come off the wall?
Nope, never.
Who in the party would be most likely to be smelly? I think Vadim. That's what my heart says, Vadim.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, Vadim.
Sorry, Vadim.
It hurts, but probably true. Yeah.
Well, let's meet all these folks that are saying hi. First up, Robin Lange is here. Hi, Robin.
Hello. Good that time.
Good that time. Whenever you're listening to this, I hope that time is good. David, the Tin Man Chernicoff, is here as well.
Good that time, Lars. Good that time, listener, whenever that time might be.
Zoe Chernicoff is here.
Hello, goodest of those that times.
And our Matt Humphreys is also here.
Good evening, and good that time to all of you.
Good that time. Thank you so much for all of the time, all of those that time wishes. Listen, listener, this is what you're here to do. You're here to listen. So listen to me right now. This is the second week of March. We have knocked down 1 week's worth of hogs in our March Hog Madness. We're finding the superior hog. David is hosting this segment. Let's figure out where we are. This is the competition is heating up. What are we doing, David? How are we going to blow through the round of 8, the Great 8, as they call it?
So last week, our listeners will recall, we began with a field of 16 hogs, all vying for the title of superior hog. And we narrowed that field of 16 down to 8 through 8 head-to-head matchups.
It was a bloodbath. It was a lot of hogs went home disappointed.
It's absolutely true. What was also a bloodbath was how much of our conversation you blessedly edited out in order to make the whole thing an appropriate length.
Yeah,
for the podcast.
I got 28 minutes down to 17 and a half for our
That's impressive.
For our 10-minute chat segment at the beginning of the show.
9 minutes of solid bronze content discarded.
And let's get back into it right now with the first of our regional sub-brackets, the Pigs, where we have our first matchup. The number 1 seed, Warthog, victorious last week over the Pot-Bellied Hog.
Great hog.
Facing off against number 3 seed, Guinea Hog, not to be confused with the Guinea Pig, 2 completely different creatures. And to start us off with this determination, let's go to Robin.
I think today I'm going to be rating on a cuteness scale, and the guinea hog is way cuter.
It's valid.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, the word superior has a lot of room for interpretation. It's like the most valuable player in a sports league. What does value mean? What is superior?
Let's really get into it right now.
Mostly cuteness.
Let's
it sounds
take a
like.
break and just really, I would love to just spin this into as much thread as possible.
So, Lars, you say that, but here's the thing about semiotics. All right, so we have 1 vote for the guinea hog over the warthog. Next, let's move to Armat. Armat, what you got, warthog or guinea hog?
I'm going warthog because their faces are weird and I like their tusks.
All right.
1-1 tied up. Zoe, our
Guinea
third
hog.
vote.
From Guinea Hog.
Hog for Zoe. And so next it'll be Lars.
Okay. It's an icon. It has made its place in the annals of hoggery for a reason. And I got to give it to the warthog.
Oh.
2 and
As
2.
it rolls back over to me to cast the deciding vote in favor of.
How does it feel right now to be in this position of power? Lars, I
get
just
into
did that
it.
for Lars's face
No, I
right
appreciate
there.
It reminds me of several other moments in my life,
Okay.
Zoe.
Now I don't like it. I did like it before. Now I don't like it.
Those moments are as follows. As I cast the deciding vote for the warthog for the same reasons as
that
Lars.
hurts.
It is an iconic hog. And although competition was fierce in the pigs bracket, in the pigs regional, the number 1 seeded warthog has come out victorious by a vote of 3-2. So that
Warthogs
brings us,
drink weird. Recommend Googling warthog drinking. Just saying.
and we move now to our second sub bracket, the non-pig animals regional,
Right.
where, if you will recall, listeners,
Oh, this
we
is
have
gonna hurt.
an absolute powerhouse matchup. Our
This
only
is-
2 unanimous first round winners are now going head to head in the non-pig animals bracket. And those, of course, are the number 1 seeded hedgehog, which absolutely, pardon the pun, listener, rolled over hogfish in the first round. And
Really stuck it to him.
Yep. And the number 3 seeded hognose bat, the world's smallest animal, which
Smallest mammal.
which just flew right past the groundhog by a vote
Wow.
of 5-0
Beautiful.
in the first round. Hedgehog or hognose bat, we're going to start this one off with Armat.
Oh no, this is tough because I'm really torn, but I'm going to make like Kendrick Lamar and don't say hedgehog, don't quill my vibe. I am choosing the hognose bat.
Oh,
And there it is, folks.
This is how
journey.
it starts. This is how it starts, everybody.
Vote number 1 from our Bat Humphreys for the hognose mat. So, Zoe, what you got?
It's gotta be hognose bat.
A second vote in the books for the hognose bat. 2-0 heading into the first turn. Lars, you are next.
Here's the
you
thing:
got?
is I don't want to make this vote because it's going to kill all of the tension here. But I have to pick the hognose bat. I think it's better
Such
than
a good bat.
it's better than most non-hogs.
Huge. So the hognose bat has now clinched
Look
the
at this
victory
guy.
in the non-pig animals bracket. Coming unexpectedly from out of the dark to seize victory and a place in the final 4.
Mhm.
Using its sonar.
Yeah, echolocating its way right into our hearts.
Oh man.
I am going to cast my vote, although it is a Pyrrhic one, for the hedgehog, which all respect to the hognose bat. Hedgehogs are awesome. They're also, if cuteness is your thing, wildly cute. So I think they're getting robbed. So I'm gonna carry the torch for hedgehogs here. Robin, I think I might know the answer, but what is your choice here in the non-pig animals bracket?
I'm a little torn because they're both so cute.
It's obscene.
This is
Yeah.
the best division in the entire tournament.
Definitely.
Like, if I had to have one as a pet,
Well,
I think I'd go for the hedgehog.
yeah.
Right.
You don't want a bat.
But I
as
love
pet.
a hognose bat too. But I think I got to go for the hedgehog this time around.
Oh, a closer matchup than I was expecting.
Yeah, me too. I didn't think I was going to go that way.
Yeah.
A close one, but the hognose bat takes it by a wingtip. And that'll bring us to the third sub-region, which was originally going to be the human stuff. And then at the last minute, I changed on the fly to the idiomatic expressions for reasons that were cut entirely from the last
Yeah.
episode because they were all puns.
Frankly, who cares? Let's get to the competition.
So we've got whole hog versus hogwash. And let's start with Zoe. What is your vote?
Hogwash.
Hogwash.
Yeah. I don't really
Why?
get whole hog. I'm not in on whole hog. I don't know. It doesn't do it for me. Next.
Not a whole hogsman. 1 vote for hogwash. Moving up top to Lars. Lars, what do you got?
I'm going whole hog on this one. I love whole hog. I want to hear all about this big old whole hog. I love it.
What does it mean?
You're going whole hog on this.
But a pig, like you don't need the face of the pig does all the stuff.
You don't need it, but you're going for it anyway.
You're
It's
getting
the
it. You're getting
It
principle.
means like you're
anyways.
buying the whole hog rather than
Yeah.
just like parts of it. When you buy it, like
Warts and all.
Don't you want it already butchered? I don't eat meat. I don't get this. I don't know.
know.
Never mind.
We have 1 vote each for whole hog and hogwash. It moves to me. I'm going to cast my vote for hogwash, a phrase that I adore and do not use enough. Robin, you are next.
hogwash.
Hogwash
Oh.
for Robin,
Oh, whatever.
bringing our working total 3 votes to 1 for hogwash. I don't even have to ask Armat because last week we learned of the kind of totemic importance
Yeah.
that
Deep
this phrase
family
has in itself.
connection to hogwash. It's true.
And there it is. Hogwash moves on, captures the idioms regional, and that moves us to the 4th sub-region, the fictitious things, where we have the number 4 seeded Roadhog, a surprise victor over Hogwarts Academy, versus number 2 seeded Hogfather, which of course we all remember
How can we forget?
is novel number 20
Yep.
in Terry Pratchett's Discworld
I was going to
saga.
say it was the 19th one. I was wrong. It's the 20th one.
Yes, it's
Just
number
one
20.
past that.
Yeah.
You got to read all of 19 after you've read the first 18, and then you will get to the Hogfather.
Right. Of course.
We now have Roadhog versus Hogfather. Lars.
I'm going Hogfather.
Hogfather. 1 vote for Hogfather. I abstain. Robin, what have you got?
A very merry Hogswatch night to everyone. Always the Hogfather.
All right.
Always
Love
the
that book.
Hogfather. We got to go Hogfather.
2 votes for my boy T. Pratch. Arbat, what do you got?
Hogfather all the way.
That's right. In your
All
face,
right.
Roadhog. Get
Yeah.
fucked, Roadhog.
The animosity is coming out.
And I am here for it. Oh my
But let's
god.
let's go ahead and record your votes, Zoe, just for the sake of completism.
I decided to roll a d6, and odd, I would vote for Roadhog, even I would vote for Hogfather, and I got a 2. So it's a Hogfather vote over here.
Yes.
Hell yeah.
All right, so it is a clean sweep for Hogfather, sullied only by my obstreperous abstention. So just to recap,
Yeah.
our final 4
Mm-hmm.
moving into next week's episode are the winner of the Pigs subregion, the number 1 seeded Warthog, the winner of the non-pig animals region, which really was the whole reason this thing started in the first place, the surprise champion, Hognose Bat, from the idioms subregion, Hogwash, and from the fictitious things subregion, the Juggernaut, the unstoppable novel Hogfather.
And also character, though. The Hogfather is a character.
Well, that spoken like someone who is familiar with what this is.
He's essentially the Discworld Father Christmas.
And we will pick this up during Hog Time next week.
Oh. I feel
Hog time.
good. I
Hog
feel as though
time.
next week this segment is going to be the appropriate length. If we only have 2 things to talk about, I think that's like correct.
Ooh, are we going to do like a Lincoln Douglas debate on the final 2? Really hash out.
Oh, I love that idea.
We're going to go hog wild. We're going to go whole hog.
I don't think we're going to do either of those things.
You know what we are going to do, though? We are going to say thank you to everybody who is supporting the show. If you've left a review for us at your podcast app of choice, thank you so much for doing that. It helps us out a ton. It gets us ahead on the algorithm. It lets people know that the show is good, or usually often is good, except for maybe during the month of March. It really helps us out. And I especially want to thank Finder, our friend Finder on the Discord.
Yay, Finder.
Yeah, Finder.
Who left us a review on Podcast Addict to say Nyang Nyang Bonobo, which is to say, great show, y'all, in undercommon.
Aw.
Oh.
Isn't
Aw.
that nice?
Finder
Thanks, Finder.
is a
Ding, ding,
lovely
bonobo.
human. Thank you, Finder.
And Lars, I I sort of zoned out for a while. Most of that was just you thanking me for administering hog time this
No,
week, right?
you know what?
I'm
You know
pretty
what,
sure that was-
David,
Yeah.
you're not wrong. If I'm coming off negatively, it's not anything to do with anything other than me seeing my future editing this down into 10 minutes. I'm loving these matchups. You heard me getting invested in the Hogfather. You heard me going to bat for the Hognose Bat, as they say.
And we will hear you screaming from Queens, from our home in Virginia, when you try to edit this down to an appropriate
That's
length.
right. That's right. Hey, guess what? We were going to do this last week, but we didn't because we went so long on that hog stuff. We're breaking off a 5 yet last time, which means that it's time for us to promote stuff. So I'm going to promote stuff really quickly right now. 1, go to our Discord. You can find a link at our website, www.tabletopgold.com. You can hang out. You can submit hero point cards. We put the character sheets for level 6 up. I forgot to mention that on the episode where we leveled up to level 6. But if you want to see the current character sheets, you can find them on the Discord in the character sheets channel. That's the only place you can find those. If you want to see them, you got to come to the Discord.
Hog bracket will be on there too.
Yeah, you can see our channel with the ever-changing title, depending on what nonsense thing we've talked about in our opening.
That's right. That's right. Right now, it's the hog bracket. You got to get in there, share your hog opinions before Hog Madness is over. Before it's over, you got to get in there. You got to join it. Our Twitch, you can find our link again on the website, or you can just go to twitch.tv/tabletopgold. We have been having a great time with our show, Godmaker, where every week we are going on live and working with chat to homebrew a new deity using Pathfinder 2nd Edition deity rules. We are building a pantheon of deities. We had a conversation earlier, right before we recorded, of some exciting things that Zoe is doing with the gods that we have made. I will leave that as a tease for now, but there are exciting things happening with Godmaker, and if you haven't watched the show, you should check it out on Twitch, or you can see the archives at our YouTube channel, which is, of course, youtube.com/@tabletopgold. You can find all of the archives of our podcast, and as I said, full episodes of Godmaker.
Lars, is that the @ symbol or the word @?
It's the @ symbol. YouTube does @ symbols in the middle of URLs.
No kidding.
I always enjoyed that in Spanish you call it an arroba.
Oh, do they?
Just
Do you call it?
easier. Yeah, then
Arroba?
you don't have to say et. You don't say et, so it's una arroba.
YouTube.com/@tabletopgold is where you can
There
find
you
us
go.
on YouTube.
Now everyone will be very clear on the URL.
Muy bien.
Okay, let's do it. Let's get into this week's game. I am so excited to see where this goes. So let's go. Today has been difficult. After a strange interaction with a messenger from out of town, Vadim has twice shown even more aggression towards the undead than usual, with some serious consequences. In one instance, Ao left a fight afflicted with a mortal illness. In another, a brutal attack on Trill drove Vadim, in a moment of desperation, to reach for his copy of The Whispering Reeds, the holy text of an extraplanar predator goddess, the eater of the undead, known as Nimbleoth. This book, which includes a story of Nimbleoth inflicting a wound upon Vadim's patron deity Pharasma, a wound which the story explains still festers to this day, is imbued with cursed necromantic energy, but also incredible power. Right now, Vadim has just read a noxious passage from the book, unleashing some of that power to kill the creatures attacking Trill. But the cost of that choice remains to be seen. So where we're picking up from, you're in the midst of fighting these 3 Shanrigal. Trill got cornered. She got flanked by all of these Shanrigal who knocked her down. She's conscious right now. She has a wound on her. She is wounded. But Vadim has just read this bit of the Whispering Reeds. And Armat, when we left off last time, you said that Vadim started to weep.
Yes.
What happens now?
So Vadim slumps against one of the cold stone walls of the dungeon and covers his eyes with his hand, letting vigilance clatter to the ground. And he rubs at his temples, trying to get control of his emotions. And finally he says, "My brother, Radu, is alive. That was the news I got this morning." He takes a deep, shaky breath, exhales, and says, "He and his unit were on maneuvers outside of Vigil when the radiant fire struck. They survived. And now he's still in Lastwall, or I suppose they call it the Gravelands now, with the Crimson Reclaimers. That messenger you saw me speaking to was one of their recruiters. Apparently, someone had heard about an Aldori dual swordsman in a tavern. I think it was Carmen Rajani bragging about his encounter with us. And she came to find me. He's asked me to join him. There's a ship leaving Absalom tomorrow morning. And while the trip would be long, I would be able to be with the last tie I have to my family. When Vigil fell, it wasn't just the city that broke. Something inside of me broke as well. I have had nothing but anger, hate, and rage inside me since then. But I'm not alone anymore. I have you, and now I have Radu too. Except I can't go be with him without turning my back on Pharasma, on the mission she sent me here to accomplish and gives me nightmares every night. And they keep getting worse and worse and worse, and now I've compromised myself on so many things. Reading this hideous text and its blasphemous stories, I feel like I've lost part of myself, and the only way I can return to being the man I want to be is to reunite with my brother. It's an impossible choice, and I don't know what to do. I think Pharasma, she is driving me to this because she is scared. She is terrified of what could happen to Nimbleoff if she were able to be released as the Harovexes clearly were planning. And then he falls silent for a long moment. Lets his hands drop to the floor. He looks down and says, I just want to see my brother again. It's all I have left.
Did Trill stand up since, like, where is she in relation to all of the beating she took?
So Trill is surrounded on either side by these fallen Chernicoff. She is prone on the ground. She has a wound that is in desperate need of medical attention. I imagine she's overwhelmed by the violence that suddenly happened. Like, these Chernicoff came oozing out of these closed doors to swarm her. She's knocked unconscious within a few seconds, and she wakes up, sees Vadim read this horrifying story from the most evil object anybody here has ever seen by a mile. And now she gets this news. Like, this is a sudden chaotic car crash of a moment for Trill.
I can imagine then Trill not even responding, Trill just letting out this deep exhale as she kind of shakes around the wound in her shoulder and just not collapse in that she's passing out, but just like when you're so overwhelmed, you just have to put your head down. And she just lets out this deep, troubled sigh and lays down fully on the ground.
I think Vadim, at seeing the movement from Trill, will sort of sit up and say, Trill, I'm so sorry. I was too reckless in charging these Chernicoffs. Let me look at your wound. Ayo, do you want to help?
Yeah. I think Ao is like very moved by Vadim's discussion of Radu. I think she also feels like, in the way that maybe Ao only can, a little like selfishly hurt, because I think she's like, Vadim's, there's been like a back and forth about like, you'll never be Radu. Like, she has her own family issues. So like, I think she looks kind of shell shocked. So she heard, oh yeah. Here, Trill, and she like sort of nervously starts wrapping gauze around, whatever inappropriate part of Trill, her foot or something that's not been hurt at all.
Hey, your technique is getting a little better.
Yeah, I know. It's always been, what do you mean better? It's been good. It's been great.
You're absolutely right. It's always been terrific.
And as Vadim says that, his mind reels from the dark energies surging throughout the Whispering Reeds. And he feels this hazy, cloudy feeling like his head has been submerged into the murky depths of a swamp. And I need Vadim to make a will save as he attempts to fend off the curse of the empty death, the curse that those who use the Whispering Reeds for their own selfish ends must face.
That is a 29.
And maybe it's the easy conversation that somehow manages to happen between Ao and Vadim grounds Vadim enough that he's able to feel the tendrils of mania wrapping around his consciousness, and then they recede as he shakes off the curse and is unaffected by the book's malign energy.
Oof. That was scary. What? That was a DC 27? Jesus, I barely made it.
Yeah, what did you roll? You rolled, what did you roll on your die? You rolled a 12 on the die, a 17 on the die. A 15 or higher. You had a 75-ish, don't at me, % chance of falling prey to that curse.
Yeah, that's wild. I don't think I realized that when I pulled that out.
It's a big risk to use this book, regardless of what you're using it for. And I do think that it makes sense that it would be the camaraderie that Vadim sees here that would help him through it.
Lars, I love that, man. Like it's so grounding. It pulls him out of what otherwise would be a very likely spell of doom.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just go nuts. Keep using the book. I bet you nothing.
Roll 17s every time, you know.
And I think the book is still laying where Vadim dropped it. He is just like staring at it in horror, distracted while he's trying to bandage up Trill. Like he just stops and
Ow.
Oh, sorry, Trill, sorry.
And Mag sees this, that Vadim is trying to minister to Trill, but keeps looking back and forth, obviously affected and shaking something off, and keeps moving back and forth, or looking back and forth between Trill and the book. And so Mag flips her maul upside down so that the handle is down, and with the pommel at the base of the handle, she pushes the book, slides it along the floor, and walks it to the far end of the room, just putting some physical distance between the object and Vadim, but unwilling to touch it herself.
And as Mag does that, she sees this silvery image of a skull on the cover of the book, staring her straight in the eyes the entire time.
And Mag's eyes briefly flash red in response, an involuntary spasm of rage starting to rise inside her chest. She gives one last push with the pommel, slides it to the corner of the room, as far away from them as possible. And
I feel like it's like when your dog poops on the sidewalk and like it just, there's still a trail of grossness, right?
it's like if your dog pooped on the sidewalk and instead of having poop bags, what you had was a lacrosse stick. It's like, what exactly would you do?
I'm throwing that lacrosse stick in the trash after that.
Yeah. I think she would just be watching the scene from remove and thinking about what life would be like trying to finish this work without Vadim, and how and unable to grasp how that could function, and also knowing that she and the rest of the group might have to go forward.
Can Vadim lay on hands and restore folks to health? Because I think that'll get rid of Trill's wounded condition.
Yeah, Trill will lose her wounded condition if she gets up to full hit points and then waits for 10 minutes, or if she gets her wounds treated via the treat wounds action.
I feel like Ao was treating wounds, so she'll do that for Trill in the back. Like we can both do it, but at like the gauze. And Ao rolls a 20.
How much healing does Trill get?
8 points of healing.
So 8 points of healing, and Trill loses the wounded condition. So what this looks like is there's this outpouring of emotion from Vadim. Trill is stunned. Ao and Vadim have a short back and forth, and Mag just pushes the book away as Vadim and the rest of the group get to making things right for Trill.
And after that's done, I think Vadim stands up, lets out a long sigh, and says, "Thank you for listening. That's been eating at me all day." And then he walks over to where the Whispering Reeds is, picks it up, dusts it off slightly, and puts it in his pack.
Ao sort of walks past him, doesn't totally make eye contact or have the like proper interpersonal moment that the situation might call for, but sort of is heard to mumble under her breath, like, you gotta do what's right for you. I think you'll figure that out. You always figure that out. Just do what's right for you. She like walks off. And then she begins looking for shiny things in the cages these things are in.
After the treat wounds, Trill is still actually badly injured, even if she's no longer has the wounded condition. And she's been kind of left on the ground. So she starts...
Everyone's emotional discomfort is
Yeah.
just causing Trill tremendous suffering.
actual discomfort. So Trill starts moving herself out from kind of amongst these piles of Shanrigal goo. But she's moving away from Vadim.
Vadim will notice that and just say, well, let's push on for the day.
Push on? Vadim, I almost just died and I'm still in agony. And it's all because you just couldn't handle all of these feelings and get them bottled up and didn't tell us and then went into these crazy fights today and I nearly died? And now you're standing there telling us that you can't decide whether you want to stay or go back to your brother that you just found out is still alive? If you can't figure out your mind, then just go!
And Mag turns on her heel. Trilphus.
Excuse me? Are you the one lying on the floor here while everyone else is looking for stuff? No. You were mad at him earlier, too.
Ao comes charging out and like looks at Trill, stamps her foot, and she goes, "Family is complicated!" And then sort of like realizes what she said and then like gets embarrassed, looks around quickly, and goes back in the room she came out of to keep looking for gold or shiny things.
We're obviously not a family. Vadim, you didn't come here to work with us. You came here because your patron goddess is haunting you. I don't know that you really care about us at this point. You certainly haven't shown anything that proves that today, other than your insane choice to almost cast a curse upon yourself because you made a bad decision to begin with.
And Trill is just still on the ground with like tears streaming down her face at this point. She's so upset.
Maybe I deserve that.
Does Ao find any treasure?
Yeah. Ao emerges from the middle cell with a shitty-looking copper key.
Look! I think this is probably the solution. We've been looking. Does this clarify anything, Vadim? Should we go? Let's go try and find a door to put it in or something. Anything but this. Can you? Trill, do you need another? Maybe Vadim can lay on hands and we can.
I don't need him to touch me. I just want to go back to my room at Crow's Cast and just get some rest.
But look how shiny
I've done
it is.
everything I can to try and protect you guys.
You could find a secret door this goes in.
I do like finding secret doors.
You're so good. Is anyone else here as good as Trill is as finding secret doors? Vadim, are you as good?
I'm definitely not as good, no.
Mag, are
Obviously.
you as good?
Mag just looks at her.
She turns into Norman. She's like, even Norman isn't as good.
Look, let's keep going for today at least. And I need some time to think.
You need time to think, and you want to keep exploring and facing monsters and having you continue to put our lives in danger because of bad decisions because you just can't handle some nightmares?
Jill, let me take care of your wounds. I understand if you don't want to keep working with me, but let me at least try to undo some of the hurt I have caused.
Trill looks away, but at the same time bears the shoulder that was damaged by the Chernicoff.
Vadim will lay on hands and start refocusing immediately, like chanting a Pharasman prayer.
So how does Trill react to that? It sounded like Trill was not interested in being helped by Vadim, and then you had this confrontation with each other. Now Vadim is literally pouring like Pharasma's energy on you. How does that strike Trill?
Trill is pissed as hell, but in the moment knows that Norman can't help her anymore with her healing, and she could just soothe herself. But she knows it's more effective for him to do that. So as annoyed as she is at him, as pissed as she is, she's gonna let him have his moment of feeling helpful. But she ain't done.
Armet, why do you think Vadim does want to push on for the day?
I think he's feeling torn. He wants to do as much good here as he can, but he's also reaching his limit. Like, he has probably slept, I don't know, 3-4 decent hours of sleep in the last week. And like the idea of his brother being out there fighting behind enemy lines and without Vadim to look after him is like terrifying to him. I don't know that he knows quite what he's going to do, but I think he wants to spend the time that he has in this dungeon as productively as he can.
Like to help push the rest of the group as close to their goal as he can before he has to make this choice.
It's procrastination in a way. Yeah, exactly. He's trying to displace and push this decision off for as long as he possibly can.
I feel like that sort of fits with how he's handled Pharasma too, right? Like he's sort of like doing enough, but like he's kind of constantly at conflict of like, is his whole mission appeasing Pharasma, or does he have these other like earthly callings that are, taking him elsewhere? So I like that echo.
Totally.
I agree.
Yeah.
So what do you do?
So they've been sitting here for a while now as Vadim's been laying on hands and Trill's been to distract herself from this whole moment playing her lute. And he finally heals her. She gets all healed up. And Trill puts down her lute and looks at him and looks around at everyone else.
Vadim, I'm still so mad. I'm hurt. I don't know where this is going to go. But I do feel better. And if you can promise me that for the rest of our time down here, doing the work that we're supposed to be doing, you don't go off and fly off the pommel of vigilance without thinking, without talking with the rest of us first, we can continue today. Can you promise me that?
Absolutely.
So no more going and starting fights that other people don't want you to start?
I'll do my best, Drill.
I understand that you're trying to keep your vows, your oaths to Pharasma, but if it results in us having to go to Pharasma, I'm not that happy about it.
Well, I don't want that either. Obviously.
Everyone's got their time, but my time is not today.
And Trill stands up and brushes herself off and starts walking towards the door.
Trill, your time is always, says Norman, not having really been paying attention.
Norman, shut up.
I think as Trill says that, Vadim starts to chuckle a little under his breath.
There any secret doors on these walls or anything?
Norman's jingling the key in front of her.
Yeah, Trill grabs the
Look,
key.
don't touch. Look, don't touch. And he's like holding it just high enough she can't reach it.
Give me a perception check. Anybody else take a look at this key?
Trill only got a 14.
How did Norman do?
24 for Norman, who's been sitting and staring at it for 40 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, Meg got a 13, which means maybe she tried to smell it.
Armet rolled blind for me and rolled a 1 on the die. So I think he like maybe loses it for a second.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
He's-
he's not getting to the bottom of this one.
Yeah.
So Norman, taking an extended look at this key, remembers a moment where he and Mag worked, or where Ao and Mag worked together to open up the door to a supply room. Multiple locks, multiple doors. It took you quite a while to get through them. And this key looks like it is perhaps a partner to those two locks.
Womp womp.
Hey, I told you it was a shitty copper key. I did not.
Yeah, you didn't
the
oversell it.
expectations of the key, I tried to lower them as aggressively as I could.
You were pretty explicit.
I was
Yeah.
pretty explicit. So the four of you, with this key identified and the whispering reeds lingering in Vadim's pack, push onward. Where would you like to push onward to?
What parts of the dungeon have we not, or on this level, that have we not yet checked out?
Oh,
You
I
guys-
think we can go further. This is like the first door from that area
Yeah.
with like the graded floor that we've gone through. There are still a lot more doors, I think.
Yeah, that room with the grate covering the pit, which rattled down onto the level below. The room with chains attached to the wall to potentially hold creatures in place many, many centuries ago, has a large double door leading off to the south with the same banded iron, like wooden doors with banded iron that you have seen elsewhere around here.
Well, maybe we try these to start.
Trill shrugs like a obnoxious teenager, like Ao.
That was pretty good, Trill, but you could do better, says Norman. Here.
I feel like Trill has just set this dynamic with Vadim where it's like Trill is a little more calling the shots here. Would she be opening the doors herself? Or is she's pointing and then
She's like,
Mag's gonna smash?
yeah, she's now like doing that thing where she's leaning up against the wall with like one foot against it. And if she smoked, like she'd have a cigarette hanging out from her bottom lip, being like that cool guy, that cool bassist in the band.
Tell me about it, stud.
Doom, 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 doom.
Fine, if that's what you want, fine.
I got chills.
Yeah, first Grease reference of the podcast. I'm so excited about this, guys. This is the turn I wanted the show to take eventually.
Only took us 91 episodes to get there.
Beauty school dropout.
So the four of you are standing in this room with the pit and all of these chains, and then there's this door leading off to the south. If you're going into that door, what are you guys doing as you explore the area?
Lars, are you saying, tell me more, tell me more, tell me?
Like, does it have a lock? Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
So Ao tests the lock and feels the door weighted as all of these doors are, but it seems to move freely.
She's searching around and looking for traps.
Yeah, the only trap that she's able to spot is the hazard presented by this pit behind her.
Oh, Trill, don't step in there. It's a big pit.
Thanks.
Vadim draws his dagger of venom into his offhand, rolls his shoulders, cracks his neck a couple times, gets a little loose, and is like, Meg, you want to do this with me?
For as long as you're here. Mag opens the door.
Trill rolls her eyes.
As Trill's rolling eyes settle, pointing in a forward direction, she sees that you are looking into a 10-foot wide hallway that leads into the darkness beyond the range of your light sources. But in front of you, in this hallway, there are double doors leading off to the west and to the east.
Well, are we going normal or helter-skelter?
Clockwise, I believe.
All
I didn't
right.
change back into AO for us to go helter-skelter. Let's do this one.
Mag walks over to the double doors on the east side.
And you see yourself looking into a supply room. There are shelves of dusty bottles all over this room. All of
Let's
these
get
shelves
drunk.
are covered with surgical equipment. Cobwebs and dust cover everything, suggesting that this chamber has been untouched for quite some time. There is a push cart standing in the center of the room.
Trill immediately starts searching for anything of value, checking drawers, checking underneath, checking for anything she can pull to open another door.
Yeah, and Ao is searching as well.
Yep.
And you break off in different directions, Trill exploring the shelves leading off to the north, Ao leading off to the south. And the two of you convene on the eastern wall of the room, simultaneously spotting an object that seems to have fallen behind this shelf at the center of the room.
AO sends her mage hand in to see if she can examine it or pick it up.
Yeah, and the mage hand wraps around something round in parts and spiky in parts.
Is it a hedgehog?
It's a hedgehog.
Name is
It's-
Sonic.
Yes. No, it's actually a key
Oh.
that has a round shaft tipped with several teeth of varying lengths. And it looks unlike any lock that you have yet seen.
Norman, you want to hang on to that key? I know you love keys.
I'm AO now. I changed a
Oh,
while
I'm-
back because we're
oh,
like
gosh,
back to the real
I
mission
was-
thing, and I felt more comfortable with my feelings.
I'm really sorry.
Also,
I
I hate
wasn't.
the shoes. When I'm Norman, I have to wear the shoes because I have that stupid human skin that gets like splinters and stuff.
Ale,
Yes.
I'm so sorry. My back was to you, and I wasn't paying attention. I apologize.
Okay. Yeah. Here, I'll take it. I'll take it.
I feel like we need a pair of AO glasses and a pair of Norman some hats or
Some little. Oh, we should get Zoe some little foxier headbands.
there we go.
Oh, definitely.
Or I could just do this when
The
I'm
whole
in,
time?
so I
That
just
sounds-
have
that
to
seems
sit
tiring.
Like that, yeah.
I think that joke is going to play great on radio.
Yes,
Yeah.
people are gonna like the hands.
Hands on head in the
Yes,
classic.
I am placing my
Foxy.
wrists on my
Lady.
head.
We'll get a new audio drop for every time Zoe puts her little fox hands
That's
up.
right.
I mean, could it
Oh, that
just
would be
be the
amazing,
Foxy
though.
Lady song from Wayne's World?
That's
Yeah.
probably very easy to license. That should be no problem.
Yeah, they love
It's
that.
worth it, whatever it costs.
Whatever
it's
the
worth it.
cost. Don't worry about the cost, Lars.
Lars,
You can
Mag-
afford it.
I would like to. We'll
We'll get a
find the
Patreon
money.
for it.
Patreon just for that drop.
Yeah, there's one tier. Help us afford the Foxy Lady song from Wayne's World.
I was watching Cars the other day because I have a child.
Yeah.
There's a part in Cars
Which Cars was it?
where
I've
the
seen them all,
hippie, the
my
first one,
friends'
just the
kids.
first one, where the hippie VW bus is playing Jimi Hendrix's national anthem, and the like military Jeep gets mad at him,
Sarge.
and he's
Yeah.
like, "Hey, it's a classic, man. It's Hendrix," and I'm just so confused as to what vehicle Jimi Hendrix would have been in
Oh my
the
gosh.
Cars universe.
There's so many questions about the Cars universe
the Cars
that I
universe is a
have.
broken
Where do
universe.
children come from? Why are there? Do they just eat
Who
each other? Like
Mines the
it's-
fossil fuel.
it's
Right.
baffling the Cars universe.
It's perplexing. I hate that movie so much. It's so bad.
Hey,
Yes.
Lars, that's really uncool.
No,
man.
I'm
I
so
worked
Owen
hard
Wilson.
at
I'm
that.
so sorry, Owen
Wilson,
Wilson.
it's
I'm
been
so
a
sorry.
while.
Owen Wilson is
It's
Owen
all
Wilson's
right,
back.
Lars, you know I can't stay mad at you. You're crazier than a road lizard, and I love it.
Okay, so in addition to that key, you also see that there's some usable medical equipment on the shelves, which take the form of 2 sets of healer's tools, a set of expanded healer's tools, which give you an item bonus to like treat wounds, administer first aid, treat disease, and treat poison. They're just better equipment. And you also find a bunch of alchemical reagents that look as though they are worth a small amount of money. Perhaps Magaloy would be interested in purchasing this from you back in town.
This is a good room for AO
Yeah.
with these healer's tools.
Can Mag do a little look around for via crafting for like hidden compartments, bookshelves that lead to secret rooms?
Yes, for sure.
Loose floor panels concealing an extra. I don't know. This seems
yeah,
like the
absolutely.
kind of place
Give
would
me
have
give me a crafting
tricky
check,
extra
and
stuff.
you'll see if you find anything in the construction of this place,
yeah.
of this supply room.
17.
Okay. What Mag sees here, the thing that she is drawn to here is the idea that this is an area that has been used for storing supplies in the recent past. This push cart is in relatively good shape. These shelves have been rebuilt since the fall of Belcora Haravex, right? Like, this is not new, but it's not hundreds of years old. But despite that, it seems like a rarely trafficked room with these cobwebs covering everything. So aside from that sort of extra sort of focus on the origin of these various shelves and so on, Mag doesn't see anything with any greater purpose in this room beyond storage and supplies.
Do these seem like the kind of things that would be used for flesh warping? Is that why we've got healer's toys and healer's tools and alchemical stuff? Like the time date range that you gave us there would seem to align with our mummy.
Yeah,
that we encountered.
Definitely. That seems like it could definitely be the case. Surgical equipment all over the walls in this place. This is a supply closet for somebody that is either a doctor or has been doing flesh warping. That seems a very reasonable conclusion to come to.
Ew.
On that we agree. This is those Shanrigals and Erdeffins. Ugh.
So I think
Vile
after
things.
we've all kind of gone through and picked out everything, it sounds like we're taking those alchemical things to sell in town. For the healer's tools, is it all going to AO, or are we splitting that? Or are you like
I think
AO
there were a
and
couple of
Vadim
sets, right?
And
Yeah, there are a couple of sets for sure.
does Mag also have healing now?
Mag has okay healing. Or you mean medicine?
Yeah, medicine. Yeah, could Mag
Yeah.
could Mag take one of those, the lesser ones? Maybe AO takes the better one.
Totally. Yeah. If there's an extra, it would make total sense. Every once in a while, Mag will probably roll a medicine check.
I mean, I hardly need it, but yeah, sure, I'll keep it.
That's cool.
Yeah, that absolutely makes sense. I'll toss one of these in Mag's inventory. The thing that I will say is that AO tends to not carry healing tools on her. So the healer's tools that she uses are in the bag of holding.
On account of being constantly encumbered.
On account of not being strong at all. Healer's tools are heavy. They are one bulk in the mechanical.
Wow.
I just
Parlance.
imagine it's like huge iron tongs and a bunch of leeches.
Yes, absolutely.
When was the last time you had a good bloodletting?
Oh, and I'm sorry, I'm mistaken. Ao keeps her healer's tools in her backpack. So do you think Ao would want to grab these better expanded healer's tools?
I think so. I mean, she's never going to say no to taking something.
Okay. So with that room more or less cleared out, where would you like to go next?
Across the hall?
Yeah, across the
Works
hall.
for me.
And I guess while all of this is happening, Mag is still not saying anything to Vadim, but she's looking. She's trying to be subtle about it, but she's really trying to get a read on what's going on with him.
And
This
what
has been a
does
really-
Mag see when she looks at Vadim?
Well, I think Vadim is sort of quiet too. You know, he's not charging ahead like he used to or was earlier in the day. I think he's like, I imagine there's a lot of awkward silences going on right now, and everybody's awkward silence has their own flavor. My sense is he's probably just in his head, like trying to not think about what he's obviously thinking about in a way.
Got it. So when Mag looks over towards Vadim, she sees him distant. He's somewhere else.
Yeah. Should we kick the doors in?
Yes.
Ao checks for traps and listens real quick before. Hold on, Mag, 1 second.
Okay, Ao pushes her ear against the door and hears nothing on the other side of the door.
It's fine. I bet it's perfectly safe.
All right. The first thing that you notice when Mag opens this door in this room is that there are 3 bright circles of light shining down in this room. And those 3 circles of light are shining down on stone tables that are topped with metal slabs.
Nope.
And there's a chain near each table that dangles overhead.
So grisly.
And Mag is able to spot something lying on the slab on the opposite side of the room from where you've entered, on the far western side of the room. Something that looks like a surgical table has something on top of it.
Is it a bunch of gold coins?
It's Vadim's brother.
Oh, God.
Oh.
He's like, hey, what's up?
No, it's cool because his brother is a bunch of gold coins, actually.
That's
It would be convenient from a plot standpoint if
Yeah.
this was Radu, because then we wouldn't have to like make that choice. Really, we just
really
kind of
convenient.
Yeah.
he could just tag along like Augriel for a few weeks, and
Well, speaking of Augriel, as Mag approaches this, what looks like a surgical table on the western side of the room, she sees the body of a Morlock
Ooh.
with bright, wide, mushroom-like white eyes.
Can Vadim go up and use medicine to see if he can learn anything about this?
Absolutely.
Because I think since we found those alchemical things, I think he's assuming this is probably where flesh warping took place.
Yeah.
So Vadim steps towards this table on the western edge of the room. This bright, piercing white light sort of moving back and forth overhead, gently, as he looks at this Morlock.
Oh, 1 on the die for a critical failure of 13.
And Vadim spent some time poking and prodding at this body. And It's just too far gone. He doesn't know whether this creature died here, whether it may have died somewhere else.
Oof. Well,
He's at a loss.
the techniques they used are beyond me, unfortunately. I can't make heads or tails of this. Maybe they were trying to make a tail. He looks trying to see if he gets any laughs. Like
Ao sort of like slowly and uncomfortably swishes her own tail behind her.
Trill's intrigued by the lights that are still on and investigates kind of the room to see if there's any magic in this room that makes everything work.
Yeah, are you casting Detect Magic?
Yeah.
Okay. So Trill casts the Detect Magic spell and sees that these 3 lights hanging overhead are, in fact, magical lights. These spotlights hanging above you. She doesn't see anything magical on the tables themselves, and she doesn't see anything magical on these chains that are hanging by the tables.
So someone magical set this room up, but I guess they're not the ones doing the work in here.
Trill goes up, stands on one of the tables to just get a closer look at the light to see if there's anything removable, anything of value in that magic.
And the only other magical light we've seen was in Belcora's office. It feels like Belcora could have set this up.
Trill takes a look at those lights and does not see a physical object. They are just magical lights suspended in the air, like an ongoing magical effect.
Are those Belcora's fingerprints on there? Did she screw in that light bulb?
Now, Lars.
Yes.
We're Ida cast light, for example. That's something that needs to maintain attention.
Right. So, like, you casting light would be able to create a light source that lasts for a day, I believe, until the next time you make daily preparations. So
these lights, Trill's trying to understand if whoever made these lights are still alive, essentially, still like continuing the spell.
Well, Trill is able to look at the state of this body and confirm that whoever was working on this Morlock is still alive, most likely.
Was it one of the Morlocks that we fought?
It doesn't
Or does
look right. So Vadim tracks back around to this Morlock, and you don't recognize the specific Morlock, but you get the sense that all of the Morlocks that exist now in this area, Augriel, Gralgust, the group of Morlocks that came up from the Darklands, they're creatures that are being drawn to this dungeon like moths to a flame. There are Morlocks that are abundant throughout the Darklands, and you can probably reach the conclusion that this Morlock came here of its own free will, and then something happened to it.
Ao sort of slinks up closer and tries to take a look since Vadim wasn't able to learn much.
Sure. Do you want to do a medicine check to figure out its cause of death?
Yeah.
Can Vadim aid her on that?
Sure.
Using, I guess, medicine
Sure.
again?
I think she, somewhat, maybe upsettingly, and I know this is a prize for Ao around dead bodies, but she sniffs the whole thing, like just like from toe all the way up to head and then back down again. And that's a 28.
And what was Vadim's aid?
It was 30. And I also have the cooperative soul, I believe is the perk. Cooperative nature. So that was a 34 on his check to aid.
Okay. Well, it's a critical success regardless, which means that AO, looking at this body, is getting a 30 on her check.
Nice.
Awesome.
And she reaches the unfortunate conclusion that this Morlock seems to have had its arms and legs amputated
Yikes.
while it was alive.
Oh.
And as she reaches that conclusion, there's a faint glimmer on the Morlock's face.
Mm.
And you hear a whisper echo around the room.
Don't like that.
Nang. Bonabo. And you see a translucent form of a Morlock raise up from the body, and it shivers and shrinks away from the light. It screeches as this harsh light shines on top of it. And it shrinks away, sees the four of you, opens its large, needle-filled mouth wide open, floating in midair above its body. And it looks at you and screams as it pushes forward to cause as much pain as it is able to. And we will pick up from there when I have my voice back next time.
Are we finally fighting a ghost?
Nice.
Awesome.
Yay!
Who are you going to call?
No.
Us.
The Roots of Ruin is a Tabletop Gold production produced under the Paizo Incorporated Community Use Policy. The Roots of Ruin uses trademarks and/or copyrights owned by Paizo Inc., used under Paizo's Community Use Policy. We are expressly prohibited from charging you to use or access this content. Paizo does not recognize, endorse, or sponsor this project in any way. Original characters and content are the property of Tabletop Gold. For more information about Paizo Inc. and Paizo products, visit paizo.com. We at Tabletop Gold would love to hear from you. Email us at letters@tabletopgold.com and find all our social links at tabletopgold.com.